It is another beautiful Wednesday of the month. You're here on the Progressive Mind Show, and my name is Alinko. Welcome, everyone. It is June 10th, 2020. Mike, I got caught up again. Can you believe it? Uh, it's June 10th, 2020. We are very grateful to have you all, our wonderful guests on tonight's show, and beautiful audience that are out there who have joined us. Once you come on, please help share the feed so your friends and our friends can participate in our conversation today. We are going to be talking about rebuilding our communities. We definitely have been through a lot lately. And so, if some of you are aware of everything that has been going on, you'll be following the news, and we definitely want to be able to talk about how we can get everything back. We may not be able to do all that we need to do right away, but we are very hopeful that as we come together and engage ourselves, we'll find the means. God will provide the resources, and there is also a lot of resources within us, which I learned from Toni after meeting her I think over the weekend. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome. We will go with the Captain Mike segment. When we come back, the show will continue. Captain Mike, I know that you got some stuff for us. Please take it from here.
Yeah, very interesting weather day yesterday. We were still affected by that tropical storm Cristobal, and we had a lot of rain bands yesterday. We had a lot of humid weather and downpour, and we had a lot of wind reports in the Chicago area, but also just south of us, we had some tornado reports. And those are the smaller type tornadoes, the F1s that aren't really, they're weak and short-lived. We don't really see those too much around in our area. We normally see larger tornadoes, which are caused by supercell storms. So yesterday was kind of a weird day. So don't let that think, don't think that that's what we're normally going to get, that the tornadoes are just going to be small and not a big deal. That's not what we get. We get the normally larger ones. Those are those come with more so your hurricanes or your tropical storms down in Louisiana or Florida. Right now, we have 82 degrees at Midway Airport. Winds are out of southwest, gusty winds, mostly cloudy skies. The normal temperature around this time, we top out about 78 degrees and we get down to about 60. So for the rest of tonight, we're going to have mostly cloudy skies. It's going to be cooler. Let me actually show you guys. Yeah, you're going to get a little cooler tonight. Okay. The lows are going to be in the upper 50s. Winds are out of the west, 5 to 10 miles per hour. A chance of rain late, so keep your eyes out there. Tomorrow, really nice day. 75 high, low of 65, a little cooler. Might look for a chance of rain later in the evening, maybe around 8 p.m., 8 p.m. Friday, really nice day, high 78, but it's going to get cool. Friday and Saturday is going to be cooler and drier. Make sure you have those sweaters out. Sunday, we'll struggle to get to 75. Maybe even a little cooler than that, low 60. Monday, we're starting to get a return to that heat, 80-degree high, 70 low. Tuesday and Wednesday next week, 8 p.m. Hot. Just really hot. I return to that moisture too. So we're gonna have a lot hot and humid days. So now, since we're gonna get a little less of that moisture, our temperature dew points are gonna be lower. So when they're in the 40s and 50s, like they're gonna be on Friday and Saturday, that's when it's gonna be cooler overnight. So make sure you bring your sweaters if you're out. So hey, back to you, Sina, and that's all. We have the health update.
Right.
Today we're gonna talk about from WebMD. Go to WebMD.com to get your updates to figure out what you can do for sunburn. Now, I learned the hard way that anyone can get sunburn. Don't ask me how. You get sunburn when the UVA and UVB rays of the sun rays damage your skin. You can actually age your skin through damaging your DNA if you're out in the sun a lot. So make sure you take care. The signs of sunburn: you've got red skin, you've got pain, swelling, blisters, and if it's really intense, you can get nausea, chills, headaches, weakness, and afterwards you get some peeling and some itching. So if you do get sunburn, to relieve it, You can apply a cold compress, take a cool bath or shower, apply some cream or gel. Make sure it has some camphor, menthol, or aloe. And you can refrigerate these creams to help it feel even better once you put it on your skin. If you're really having some pain, take some ibuprofen or some naproxen. That can reduce some of the swelling and the pain. Stay hydrated, definitely. If you have some really serious symptoms, definitely call a doctor and see if you can alleviate some of this, because if you have a fever of more than 102 degrees, chill, severe pains or blisters, or severe dehydration, make sure you do call your medical professional. Now, to prevent sunburn, wear a large brim hat if you can. Don't look too crazy. Wear long sleeves shirts and pants, which I'm sure we all have on right now because we're on video. UV blocking sunglasses. Use your sunscreen with at least an SPF of 30. Apply 30 minutes before you go out to the sun. Let it sink in. Soak in a little bit. Even on overcast days, you can still get sunburn because our UV rays still penetrate through the clouds. Apply it every 2 hours, or if you go swimming, or if you sweat profusely, make sure you put some more on. Now, like I said before, you can get some more information at webmd.com/sunburn. Okay, well, now we're going back to you there, Sina.
Now we get the time. We get to talk about what we are here, why we are here, and we are very, very grateful for your time. Before you go, though, how is the flight situation looking like? Are the airline companies opening it back up? Are people, out and trying to get tickets? How is it like?
It's slowly rebounding, where we're having about, I'd say about an increase of about 25% of bookings. On a normal day like today, I think I read around a little over 1 million passengers per day. We're about 250,000 or so.
Okay.
I haven't checked the latest for today, so it may be a little more, maybe a little less. We're starting to slowly rebound from the situation, but we're going to do it carefully to make sure it's going to be completely safe, and we do it the correct way. So we'll get you back to your destinations. I promise you that. You'll be able to party and vacation very soon.
All right, Mike, thank you so much for always helping out. We will see you next week for sure. Enjoy the weather and be good. Be safe too. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so we will continue with our purpose for today, which is rebuilding our community. Again, if you just joined us, you're watching the Progressive Mind Show live with your host Alinko. Yesterday was a special edition. Great one. If you missed it, go on the Progressive Minds page. You can watch that, or go to our YouTube, the Progressive Minds page. We were talking about the African voice with regards to the African American struggle. Brilliant conversation. We meant to go for 2 hours. It took us 3 hours. And you can imagine. But it was very helpful. It was very informative, very refreshing to see Africans getting involved and sharing their opinions when it comes to the African American struggle. This is not the end of it. This is what we've been doing for the past 2-3 years. We will keep going at it until we get to a place where our communities, the Black community, the I'll say the Black African diaspora, as some will call it, we want to get to a point where we're seeing ourselves getting closer and closer and having a better community, because together we can build a better community. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome. We will start with the introduction. I have Whitney Hampton, who is a real estate broker and an investment specialist. We'll let her tell us a little bit more about what she does. Then we have Toni Anderson. Toni Anderson is the founder of Sacred Keepers Sustainability. Now, the other title, which is, I don't know if it's a continuation of it, it says Mindful Rants. You may want to explain why that. I've been thinking about it, Mindful Rants. But anyway, she's the founder of Sacred Keepers Sustainability Lab. She's here with us. She also started a very wonderful food bank, kind of a mini food bank kind of project going just to help our community. Recently, I met her, great lady. And next to her is my own brother, Kymon Kindred. Who doesn't know Kymon in Chicago? If you don't know Kymon, if you don't know this brother, well, you haven't lived in Chicago long enough, and so we don't consider you a Chicagoan. so we will have to initiate you to become a Chicagoan. But this brother is a virtual anthropologist. He is a chef, not just regular chef, okay? The original chef, all right? Okay, proper one, okay? She can cook. She can cook Nigerian dish, Ghana dish, American dish. This brother does it all. Okay, he does it all. So we go straight to you guys. Once again, you're welcome to the Progressive Mind Show, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. Yeah. I'll start with okay, I'll come this way. So I'll start with Whitney. Aside what I've just told listeners with regards to your profession, who is Whitney Hampton on a day-to-day basis, and what are some of the things that you enjoy doing if you're not doing real estate or investment?
Absolutely. So, hi everyone. I am excited to speak with you all tonight. My name is Whitney Hampton. I'm the owner of Hampton Real Estate and Investments, and it's brokered by A Progeny Global. We specialize in helping millennials create legacies of wealth by making home ownership a reality within 90 days or less. What do I do outside of real estate? I actually do it while I'm doing real estate, right? So I seek to empower and uplift our community. I am a youth mentor. So I deal with children almost every day in some capacity. Right now, I've got some teenagers that I am mentoring as far as real estate and giving them a summer job through my organization. I'm also one of the coordinators of the Clean Out and Board Up 2020 group that we started in reaction to some of the looting and rioting that we saw about 2 weeks ago. So I love our community. I'm passionate about our culture. I love to read. I love to talk. I also have a podcast. So I love to do things that are fun and get outdoors.
Okay, thank you for a beautiful introduction to who Whitney is. Now we know a lot more about you. So thank you so much for that. Toni.
Hi, hey.
Yeah. What does Toni do when she's not the founder of Sacred Keeper Sustainability? What is it about you that you would like our listeners to know?
When I am, I breathe. I breathe, sleep, dream my work, so I'm often not separated from it.
Okay.
I am an unapologetic tree hugger. I am an unapologetic youth liberator and advocate of my people. I'm an imaginist and a freedom curator. I believe that we have the power to imagine whatever we want for ourselves and our community. Okay. It's our responsibility to free the imaginations of our young people so that they're not enslaved to the limitations of the generations before. I'm very committed to making sure that our community is an outpicturing of the wholeness that we have the ability to feel. I'm a love curator. I believe in love is revolutionary, and that is a powerful means by which we can make it through any situation as we have historically. I do a lot of programs with youth in restoring the ecology. I believe in looking at the ecosystem of both our internal and external landscapes.
Okay.
And cultivating them through summer internships, through global trips.
Okay, we'll come to that.
Yeah. So that's all the stuff I do.
Okay. I met your family too, great family. So I just wanted to say that. Okay. All right. Now, my brother here, do I have to ask you what you do? But yeah. What's up, Kymon? Go ahead.
I'm the #1 janitor. How about that?
No, but I'm glad, you have, when I bumped into you, I mean, we've known each other from afar for some time, but when we started working together was when you helped us with the with the event that we did at the Sabo Museum, which is we call the Exchange.
Yep.
And that's when I got to know more about you and the things that you love to do. I just can see the pure heart for the community. But I'll let you do it. I'll let you tell the people what Kymon loves to do when she's not out helping, taking photos. I mean, being a virtual anthropologist. First of all, what is an anthropologist? Somebody says, oh, that's a big English word. What is that?
It's hard. It's basically, I concern myself with my culture, my people, my community.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it is I bring to bear, whether it's art or photography, I make sure that it's integrated and synchronized with the needs and the reality, the practical reality on the ground of the community that I'm in, whatever community that might be.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, it's different because I said, well, I'm not really a photographer, and I'm not really just an artist, I feel like I was born an artist, and I became everything else through the blessings of my ancestors.
Okay.
So anthropology kind of fulfills sort of like a catch-all. Big English word, small purpose. I just do what I can with what I got from where I am.
How did you learn how to cook, man? So good.
So listen. I was born here in the States, and as we call it, I was drop shipped.
Okay.
I was drop shipped. I was raised in Nigeria. I did my elementary school or primary school, and then I did my secondary school in Nigeria in Lagos. And pretty much watching all of my family members in the compound do whatever it is they do. I'm always sent for the errands. I'm always the ones that got fast feet. So I learned from basically watching or being made to sit still. If there was a naming ceremony or weight keeping or a birthday party or 50th, I guess I was the runner to the store, and I would always ask these slap in the face questions, which is, why do we need more onions? I see onions right here. Go get more onions. And I went to get the onions, and then, they would explain, well, we need more onions because of this, that, and the other. So I suppose when I became a grown man and I needed to cook for myself, it was just already there. So I added to it, and I like to share. So I'm sharing what I know with the people that are close to me in my circle. So
you're an artist, and you
yes.
do, yeah. Was that also something you had to? I mean, you watched. Was that something that you got just from the experience you had with the cooking thing, or just something?
In a way, I find myself having a lot of the skill sets that I express now or that I present now. I find that I had a lot of these talents and skill sets that were sort of imbued in me growing up in Nigeria. Okay. So my family made sure I was put around or near, on top of, or through the resources. And, as a kid, we suck everything up. We suck everything up. And so this art thing is my calling. So even if you think about the photography, it's all creative. It all comes from a source of creativity. Okay. And so I just try to apply that creativity where I can, and I pray it works out.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much for helping with that. Well, our brother Emmanuel Abidemi, who is the CEO of Iyanze Restaurant on the north side, just joined us. We thought we couldn't get him, but he wanted to be on there, so he made sure that whatever that was inhibiting him, he's been able to join us this evening. So we are very grateful, brother. We were just done introducing. I mean, we just went. The other guest just introduced himself. So if you can take the next minute to tell us who brother Emmanuel Abidemi is. Now, if you don't mind, you can switch the phone landscape. That way we can get it just like everybody has it. Can you hear me, Emmanuel? Okay. Looks like we're not getting. We can't hear him for now. So we would. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. While we try to get his situation sorted out, let's all take a minute to assess what has been going on in this country for the past, let's say, 3 months. From the pandemic.
I can hear you, Sam.
Okay, I can hear you. Can you hear me now? Okay, I can hear him, but he can't. So we will do this. Just bear with me. Okay, we'll come back to him. I'll start with Toni, did I start? I think I started with Whitney the first time, right? So it was okay. So Toni, from the beginning of the year till now, give us your assessment, how you felt and what you actually have been feeling from, let's say, when this COVID hit up until now with the rioting and the protests and with George Floyd and all that, and also take a second to, say a word of condolence or some kind words to George Floyd's family, if you may. So this 1 minute is yours now, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Thank you. Let's see. Since the beginning of the year, I've been, really taking time to really consider the whole and not just, my experience in it, but what is really happening to us at the global level and the collective. Of course, going through all my own emotions about COVID and being scared and listening to all the theories out there and just trying to figure out really what is mine to do. I've been noticing basically that, I've always imagined that COVID and everything that we've been experiencing is a call to ourselves, a call to humanity. It's painful, uncomfortable, scary, frightening, sad, terrifying, but it's also an opportunity for us to design a new world. And I've been very, very, mindful that as much as is being deconstructed in this moment, there's an opportunity to build. There's an opportunity to create what we actually want and get out of what we've been experiencing as the absolute opposite of that. And as far as just, the Floyd family and, all of us right now, I would just ask us all to just be tender. I just keep coming up with the same phrases, wishing everyone just love and tenderness. We need healing. We need to hold each other in radical ways that we haven't before.
Okay.
And this is an opportunity for us to radically love and trust and care for one another. And I'm hoping that the Floyd family feels our love and our support. And hopefully they know that they're not just feeling it from us, but they're the catalyst to how we should be governing ourselves as a better humanity.
Thank you. So I'll go to my brother Kymon. The same question for you.
Yeah. So, the corona, the COVID-19 thing kind of, it took a while to set in. I mean, I understand what everybody was saying, be safe, wash your hands. It's spreading throughout the world. People who can be carriers. You don't know what you're going to get. Take care of your immune system, take care of yourself. Basically what I see from this pandemic is basically a reset. It's Earth, it's God, it's whatever you believe in is telling us to take a slowdown and take a look at ourselves in the house for 9 weeks, 8 weeks, and to also take a look at what we're doing in this world. What are you doing in this? What are you doing for this world? What are you doing to minimize your footprint in this world? So I take it as a reset. It's almost like, only a virus with no money, smaller than we can see, can completely halt economies, wars, prejudices within reason. But basically, I see it as a reset, and I take this opportunity to become more human, to pay attention to the plight of others. When your mind is still and you're not ripping and running, taking pictures, cooking, you can focus on some of the things that matter. So I try to focus on some of the things that matter. With regard to the situation with George Floyd, it was another blow. It was a gut shot. It's one of those things where you hear the news cycle and it continually ramps up in your face, and then you decide to peek and take a look at it, and then you suddenly find yourself emotionally with a knee on your neck, and it's like you don't know what to do. I mean, like, it's here we go again. Like, where's this path? Where's this train going to take us? Are we going to get justice from this, or even with all the evidence, the pervasiveness of all evidence, is it just going to be another washout? Are they going to arrest the perpetrators, and then 6 to 8 months later, when we forgot the news cycle, is he going to be free on bond at some country club in Northern California somewhere? I don't know. So the fact that it is spread like it is spread, I mean, they're even having protests and murals in war-torn Syria. The fact that it has reached this momentum calls all of us to action. Even those who weren't used to getting up or sitting down, it calls everybody to action. So I'm just trying to be mindful, to be present, to be intentional in any of the actions. As long as it's practical and it can do some good and is not against conscience, I'm for it.
Okay, thank you. Let's look at how we rebuild our communities. And you all have been doing that your own way. We want to look at it from the political standpoint, how we have how we have tried to rally around each other. If we haven't, how can we as a Black community politically start getting things together for what we have lost so far? This whole situation has actually exposed some of the weaknesses within our political spectrum, both in the Black community and at large. And so as community leaders, and we'll come to some of the things that you have been doing so far, but I want us to look at your take and your observation, your opinion on how we can rally around politically to start moving the community back to where we were and even beyond. Since you last spoke, Toni has been quiet for some time, so I'll go back to Toni.
No, actually, I'd love to hear from Whitney. I answered the last question.
Okay, you did. Okay, Whitney, please go ahead.
Oh, thank you guys so much. I think one thing that's important is, of course, unity, right? Mm-hmm. And having been in the community in these last couple of weeks and really throughout my life, mm-hmm. we're seeing that resurgence of commitment to unity, commitment to one another. I think that is so important. And then we have to engage the younger generation around the importance of being politically connected. Right now, there's such an apathy for politics, for voting. We have to re-engage them. And part of this has to be a bridging of the generations, right? Every person, every generation is essential to the progress that's going to happen. And for us to continue this momentum into a new and changing the trajectory of our generation. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to have to, we have to have the insight of our seasoned and elders giving us wisdom about what works mm-hmm. and what hasn't. We have to engage and give a plan and direction to the energy of the younger generation. I'm sorry.
I think we had a background noise. That we apologize. So
okay, no worries. I didn't know if you were saying something. But so I think unity is important, us being together and understanding what we are asking for. Mm-hmm. The looting and the rioting that we saw was a reaction to anger, to being fed up, and not having an outlet, not feeling heard. So we have to give direction and say, what is it that we want? Mm-hmm. We have the attention of the world at this point.
Right.
So collectively, we have to decide what are our priorities, and then everyone has to do their part. And again, it can be, as simple as just sharing messages, or it can be as vast as leading the charge.
Okay. Toni, it's an election time, and I'll come to Kymon. My brother Emmanuel is he's here, but so that we can have a smooth sailing conversation. I would like you all to respond to this. Then I'll go to Emmanuel so he can have his chance on what we have talked about so far. But people are talking about it's elections time, and everybody is encouraging Black folks to vote. Some will say do not vote. They don't care about us. That candidate is not going to help us and whatnot. What would be your advice to how we can engage, still find some kind of motivation to politically engage? Because that is the fiber of our society. We can't survive without it. Do you want to respond to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I always say that, yeah, I read a quote somewhere that summed it up, but it was basically to the effects of, if it didn't mean anything, they go through an awful lot to affect our ability to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And generationally, there's been a lot of effort to suppress our vote, suppress our desire to vote, mess up our vote. You know, it's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
With the challenge to our postal system and our ability to vote by mail. It is so my opinion is if it didn't mean anything,
okay,
then there wouldn't be this much attention on trying to disrupt our ability to have this freedom and this right to do so. So I would say voting is important, but to the last question, I just want to comment that, you know, it's really important for us to also be paying attention to our community politics.
Mm-hmm.
The politics that help us do the things that we're doing in response to our powerlessness. We have systems of political control and agency within our community. We have internal politics.
Right.
And it's as important for us to shore those internal politics up as it is for us to worry about the externalized politics that affect our community. And I think it's times like this that we really understand that within our community, we have a whole political system. And our ability to understand its sophistication and complication and work that internal politic so that it's congruent and has enough power to meet the things that we're trying to change in the more global politic.
Right.
I think that that's where our resilience is, and that's where we need to pay a lot of attention.
You think that we have good leadership in that local community political system that you mentioned? You think we have the right behind our leadership? Or actually, let me just put it this way: you think we have the right leadership to lead us in the right direction as you articulated?
Well, I think that leadership, just like every other system right now, has to be reimagined.
Okay.
The leadership that we have is very congruent with a world that is currently being dismantled. So I think right now it's up to the leaders of the community to really understand the landscape. I really love what Whitney was saying. There's an intergenerational piece within there that we have to really look at the legacy of things that have classically worked. But we also have to be really courageous and willing to divorce things that are just not congruent with. Just because it's business as usual doesn't mean we should continue doing things this way, particularly when we see classic thefts of momentum to the things that we want to see in our community that are actually within our agency to do.
Okay.
Versus waiting on externalized forces to come and organize us.
That's a very great point, Toni.
It is.
Emmanuel, can you hear us clearly now? Okay. Emmanuel, can you? Okay, if you can't, let's go to Kymon. We'll try and come back to Emmanuel. Do you want to respond to this, brother Kymon?
Could you repeat the question a little bit, because I know there are a couple of questions out there.
Yeah. So because of everything that is going on, people are talking about not to vote, okay.
You
know, and all that stuff. What's your opinion on that? Do you think we should still engage politically? Do we have the right leadership in this time to lead us in rebuilding our community?
You know what? I will say this. Me personally, I'm going to vote. You know, I know of my mother, my grandmother, my granny. You know, I know kind of like the fight that they had to go through just to vote. Just not just to show up, but just to be, you know, legitimate, you know, to vote.
Okay.
And I mean, we all know here, no matter where we've come from, there's always been a struggle for people of color to get that representation. So, you know, even though the political scene is a little bleak, I'm not going to use that as an excuse not to vote. I will say, as far as to the question of leadership, I will say that I have seen instances where leaders have come and actually stepped up to the plate, you know, whether it's the local alderman or the community leader or, you know, the old lady or the young lady down at the end of the block who does the block club. I've seen people step up to the plate. And then I've also seen massively epic failures at the highest office in the land. To say that is that, what kind of like Toni was saying, I like to look local first. I'm not going to look to Washington, D.C. to solve a pothole, on in the street of my block. I'm going to look to my local people. I'm going to look to the alderman. And I do really appreciate how we are all kind of organizing along the basis that we're all human. We're all affected by this pandemic, by this racism, by this systematic racism, whether it's the census 2020 or, redistricting attempts or trying to suppress the vote, whatever form it may come in. I really appreciate the intention of the community to make sure that does not happen.
Okay.
It does not happen now, not under our watch.
Well, thanks for sharing the view. I think it's very important what you all said, very positive messages to our community. We can't not lose sight of the importance of our involvement in politics, because like I said, from your local judges to your local state reps and aldermen, all those people, they make decisions that affect us day in, day out. And sitting back and not getting involved is not what is going to help, even though you might have some apathy. There are so many reasons why people are getting that type of feeling. But the fight, as you brilliantly put, my brother, we have to keep engaging and knowing that our engagement will bring the changes that we're looking for, because we have come a long way. So thank you so much. Let's see if we can get brother Emmanuel. Emmanuel, can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
Excellent. Thank you. So we have been talking about how we can rebuild our community. You personally have been affected by some of the negative effect of the protest that has been going. I mean, negative, vibe of you have been a recipient of some of the negative results of the protest that we have seen so far. We'll have you talk about that, but let me give you the chance to tell us who Emmanuel is, and you can also respond. You can also use that time to send a word of condolence to the family of George Floyd, and then we can have you respond to some of these questions that we've already dealt with.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Abidemi. I'm the executive director for Bullard African Cuisine Incorporated and LBLG Hospitality. I'm also a lifelong Chicago resident, elementary, high school, pretty much everything in Chicago. I was born in Nigeria, but pretty much my formative years were spent in this country. I've been here since my early teens.
Emmanuel, we can barely.
Based on what we've all.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. How about now?
Yeah.
Events of the past few weeks. Based on the events of the past few weeks, what we are is bigger than what anyone could have expected. But I think within all that's still going on, it's a chance for opportunities, right? Mm-hmm. And if you allow your mind beyond what lays right before us, you accept it as a necessary part of growth. Nothing is ever born without a.
Yeah, we having a lot of. I think okay. So we would come back to Emmanuel. Brother, please stay with us. Hopefully we can get it situated for you. It's very unfortunate, and we apologize for that. But we know that politically we have to get involved, and we also need, to support our leaders. We need our leaders to lead the way and be involved in these hard times. Let's talk about how, first of all, what has been, from your observation, what have you seen as being the result of the protests that has been going on so far, both positive and negative? From your own observation, I'll start with Whitney. What has been your observation so far?
Personally, what I've seen in the community has been really positive.
Okay.
I have seen a joining together, a banding together of our citizens saying, what do we need to do? How can we be a part of the change and the shift that's happening? And I've just seen a lot of support, a lot of love, a lot of compassion one for another. But I think that's indicative of who we are as a people.
Okay.
That when things are difficult, when things are hard, we get together, we figure out how to survive, we figure out how to make it through. But there is a sense of hopefulness. There is a sense of we are going to not only make it through this, but we're going to thrive on the other side of this. Okay. And there is a sense of anticipation and expectation for what's next. How do we make sure that we do not have to continue to repeat and see the same things over and over and over and over again? So if that means, protesting, if that means rioting, if that means pulling down statues, whatever that looks like, people are committed to it.
Okay. That said, you have been personally involved in trying to help out. Now, yes. Tell us exactly what you put a post on for Facebook, a catch on. Tell us all about that and how. Yeah.
So I am, like I said earlier, I'm a real estate broker by trade. So on Sunday afternoon, I was off of 81st and Stony Island and was showing a building. And of course, like everyone else, I have been watching CNN. I have been watching the news, seeing what was going on downtown, seeing what was happening in other states and cities. But in the midst of me showing this building, I actually saw looting and rioting of the stores right across the street from where we were. Mm-hmm. So, of course, to see something live and in action has a totally different feeling from just watching it on a screen. And immediately my heart just felt heavy. I felt really overwhelmed. And so I went home, put up a post on Facebook and just said, listen, if you are a Black-owned business that has been negatively impacted by the looting and rioting, don't worry, we will help you rebuild.
Okay.
And I didn't have a plan on how we would help rebuild. In my head, it was going to be, I'll throw money at businesses to help them get off the ground. I have a huge network of contractors, so I'll get some of them together and we'll do some services for them. But I really didn't have a legitimate plan. And I put that post up, and within like an hour and a half, it had been shared over 95 times. Okay. And I had people reaching out to me to volunteer. So there was like Latalo McGee of Ani Real Estate, Charmaine Robinson of True Lawyers, Shavonna Hunt, Barry Johnson, Lamont Ellaby. They immediately called me and said, we want to help. What do we need to do? What are your steps? What are you wanting to do to help rebuild? And I was like, I didn't think that part out yet. I just want to help. So as much as I was getting the phone calls from volunteers, then the phone started ringing. I mean, I was up until 3:00 that morning with people calling saying, my business is being looted. I'm watching it on my camera at home. People were crying. They're like, what are we going to do? And, at that point, I really became almost a therapist and just sitting with them and talking them through this and explaining that we were going to be there not only to clean out and rebuild, but to provide whatever other resources they would need to see their business stay afloat. And that Monday morning, I just asked everyone to meet me on 87th, the Home Depot on 87th and the Dan Ryan, and said, listen, we'll split up into teams. I've got 10 businesses that have already reached out that need help. I just need you to come help us board up. That Home Depot had actually been looted, so it was shut down. All of the South Suburban and even the city stores had also been closed. So I actually drove to Hammond and had them load 30 sheets of plywood on my Lincoln MKX and drove to that Home Depot And when I got there, there were over 55 people there saying we're ready. And so we had plywood, we had drills, we had nails, we had brushes, you know, everything that we needed, and we just got to work. And that was what we did every day last week. Monday through Wednesday, we cleaned out and boarded up homes. And then someone reached out to me and said, listen, we have seniors that now their grocery stores are closed. They have no way to get resources, no way to get groceries or prescriptions. Is this something we can assist with? And I said, absolutely. We'll do grocery store runs. Tell me where the help is needed. And so we got a call from a building on 119th and Parnell, 112th and Parnell. And they said the whole senior building needed resources. We drove around for about 30 minutes until we found the Jewel on 119th and Marshfield that was open. And we loaded up literally like 30 carts worth of food and got them, you know, from fresh fruit and fresh vegetables and meat to laundry detergent, dishwashing liquid, tissue, paper towels, bleach. We got as much as we could possibly think that they might need. And in total, we ended up doing that for 9 senior buildings. And then I got a call saying, you know, some of the WIC offices were burned down. We have teenage mothers, we have single mothers who cannot get milk, who cannot get diapers, and other baby necessities. Can you help? Monday of this week, we gave out all of those necessities, diapers, wipes, formula, baby water, blankets, and clothing. Everything was brand new except the clothing, to 125 moms. So it was, are you saying my sound is bad?
No.
Oh. But yeah, it was a phenomenal time for us. And that's why I say I saw a lot of positivity, because people were just, I mean, we were in the street boarding up buildings and people pulled over and were like, we want to help. What are you guys doing? What organization are you with? How can we assist? And of course, it wasn't an organization. It was just the community coming together, seeing a need and meeting the need. So we created a Facebook page, Clean Out and Board Up 2020, where people could know, you know, exactly where we were, when we were there. And so people all day long, whatever site we were at, were assisting. And so it was just an awesome initiative that really was successful. And now we are in the stages of planning our next wave. You know, we were totally reactive to what happened, but now we are working to be proactive. What are the next steps?
Okay, great. So this is how economically we come together as a community to help build what we may have lost during this, during this past days, and actually on building, advancing more, advancing ahead, advancing off of what we already had. So great job, great initiative. And we're going to go into, the finances, how you're able to finance this project and whatnot. But Kymon, you also have been involved in doing some of these things. Can you tell us your experience with regards to your involvement in literally rebuilding our community, your observation of the looting, how it's affected us, positively and negatively, and your involvement in all this?
Great. Thank you. So this is kind of funny. Not funny, but it's a little bit interesting. So I had some electrical work done on my house on Saturday or Sunday, and I misplaced some of the electrical components. So my big brother Fred is like, okay, I'm gonna go to Home Depot in the morning. I'm gonna get the rest of the stuff. I woke up the next morning, I think that was Saturday or Sunday. While I was in the Home Depot, got everything I needed, jumped in the line, the line was really lined. I started seeing security personnel just moving around. Now, I've been going to this Home Depot. I'm a pro contractor, so I've been going to this Home Depot 20 years, right? So I see the security guys moving, and they were, loss prevention guys. So they start moving to the door. So I'm like, okay, they're trying to block the door. Maybe somebody's got a theft going on. They were actually shutting the door because at the other end of the lot by Reno Care Food for Less, there was basically a crowd of 50 or more people that had just started coming into the parking lot looting. So I got up out of Home Depot. I kind of tried to go live. I couldn't. So I just started texting, listen, if you're 87th and Dan Ryan, find your peace, find your home. You don't need to be here. There's a big mob crowd. By the time I got to my car, everybody was panicking. I literally had to drive over sidewalks, gates to make it out of the parking lot. I had to go west of Halstead and south to 95th just to come back around. Now, while I'm coming back around, I'm seeing people just literally pile into their cars, putting duct tape on their license plates. And I was like, okay, this does not look good. I get home, I check in, I turn on the news. I'm watching 54th, 55th, and Wentworth being looted like live. I had no idea. I'm just, watching the newscast. I'm switching between Channel 5, Channel 9, because I'm a cable cutter. So, I just switching back and forth. And, the next morning, I think that it may have been, I'm not sure today, Saturday or Sunday, I basically got a message from a friend of mine, Shakti Sankofa, and she basically said, there's a brother with a fitness club in the Wentworth Shopping Center. I know you got tools and stuff. He might need some help boarding up, And at the same time, I was in the process of writing a post with basically saying, basically here's what I can do. Because at that point, I've been called to action. I'm like, you got to do something. You just can't sit here. This is your community. This is the places you go on an everyday basis to get your daily resources or needs, Black businesses in general. And I'm like, I just can't sit idle by. Now, I'm not going to get busted upside my head trying to get them to stop. But within reason, there is something I can do. And basically, I said, I can do runs. I got a saw, I got drills, I can help board up, but I knew the stores were closed. I was like, you gotta get your own wood. Lo and behold, by the time I got there, I ran into a couple upper contractors. I got them to donate 20 to 30 sheets. We boarded up Fitness Annex, I think it was called. I got interviewed by WGN and Channel 2. The WGN piece aired. And basically, it was just like, here's what I got. I talked to the guy. I went home and got my saws, and we just made it happen. Okay. Then other Black businesses in the mall saw what we were doing and said, listen, we were given some wood, but we can't board it up. So there was a Vision Place next door and a couple other nonprofit businesses. So I said, you know what? I'm going to grab something to eat. I'm going to reach out to the community. I need a few dollars here and there. I need to get some screws, and then I'll be back. We can make it happen. I went on Facebook. I said, listen, guys, I need like $20. I got to get some screws. I got wood. I got saws. I got everything. The community gave almost tenfold in 15 minutes. They just cash apped me. And then I also was running around for elders, helping them get, supplies and everything. And by the time all was said and done, by the time I helped board up, people saw me on TV and whatnot, and I had started making elder runs. By the time I made these elder runs for the elders and other members of the community, I didn't need any money. I told the elders, no, you're paid up. Whoever it is, they didn't pay for whatever it is you're getting. And I basically kept doing it. Toni called me, or I called Toni. I don't know what it was. And next thing you know, it was almost like an instant organic partnership with the Sacred Keepers Sustainability Lab, which she had named, sort of like a function of it was called the Reciprocity Hub. And I'm like, that works for me. That works for me because if people are donating this or donating that, at least I have a central spot where I can say, elders, if you need this, we're not going to take you out of it. You just come over here and pick it up. And next thing you know, I'm running from one end of the state across, I've gone as far as Merrillville, Indiana to pick up supplies and do grocery shopping for elders. And I think I've gone as far north as Wilmette or Winnetka, to pick up stuff. And basically my idea in my head is like, I might not be able to do a lot. I can't give $1 million. I can't, give people access to pick up trucks and stuff like that. But I can let my seats down. I can pick up groceries. I can drive. I can drop them off. and then I can wait. Even other friends were worried about me. I mean, Mashawn and Kanika is like, listen, you need to either sit down or let us be dispatched for you so that you don't wear yourself out in the field. So those functions happen organically. It went to friends and community members and associates, and they helped me. And Toni also helped me manage the offer and the receiving, so that I can basically do my part, and other members of the community who came on board can do their part, and it all came organically. So this is what I could do, and this what works for me. Everybody's got to do whatever's in their talent to do.
Exactly. No, great point. Thank you so much for sharing. It's 7 minutes, a minute past 7 minutes. It's a minute past the hour 7 here in Chicago, and we're still on the Progressive Mind Show. Your host is Alinko. We would go to our Facebook audience, acknowledge a few, and try to get some of the messages and comments. Then we can take Toni's view on how we can rebuild our community economically. We've touched a little bit on the political path as to what we need to do, and so we are in the economic stage where we want to discuss how we can economically rebuild. Ephraim EJK is joining us. I mean, he's joined us since 6 p.m. He says, I'm in New York and we had a heavy downpour this morning. I think he was commenting on the weather. Okay, so it rained in New York, basically. Thank you so much for joining us, Ephraim, and for sharing your and for contributing to the show. We appreciate you. Rebecca Mother says, great show. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Michael Tekam Scroat says, never seen him in my life, especially not with the camera. Maybe he's referring to you, Kymon.
Yeah, Tekken. Yeah.
Okay.
One of the times that he's not seen me with a camera.
Okay. Paige Brown also joined us. Thank you so much. Ashia Hasnan, my own friend. Hello, Ashia. Long time no see. Hopefully we can catch up over this weekend. Okay, I'll probably give you a call. And Gina Minpasem also says hello. Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us, Gina. And Paige sent a comment. She says, yes, I have heard that. I've heard that too. I heard that too. Voting. Why is voter suppression so rampant? If our vote has no power, why should they try to stop something if it had no impact? And she says, great discussion. Thank you so much, Paige. Paige Brown. Let me see if I can find someone who just joined us. Okay. Okay. Toni. Okay, we hear you. Hopefully you can get your situation sorted with the lighting system so you can join us. Oh, Toni is here with us. No? Okay. Sierra Watson says, hey, can I get your autograph? Okay, thank you all for chiming in. If you just joined us, again, this is the Progressive Mind Show. Wherever you're watching it live, if it's Facebook or YouTube, please share it so we can, through this platform and through these conversations, attempt to build our community the right way. Toni, can you chime in on what we have been talking about so far, if you can still hear us?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. So, Toni, your organization, tell us about the Keepers Sustainability Organization. Let me get the name right. I don't like it when I'm not pronouncing things the right way. It is called, the Sacred Keeper Sustainability Lab, Mind Rants. Tell us briefly what that stands for, and then how you got involved with helping the community with food, food supply, during these days, if you don't mind.
Sure. So my organization is really, I say that we're dedicated to kind of looking at the intersection of climate and culture, and how our ways of being in the world affect our planet.
Okay.
And if we want a healthier, more beautiful, generative planet, how can we be restorative human beings? And I mostly do that work with young people. And we study ecosystems. habitats, urban ecology, the issues around climate change as it affects our urban communities, particularly as climate change disproportionately affects communities of color, not just here in the States, but globally. So that's what our primary focus is. Right now, we're functioning as what I call a reciprocity hub. And in this moment, I was very broken in the days that preceded the news of George Floyd's death. I was just very disheartened and sad. I did not watch the footage, but to now everyone knows that he called out for his mother. And that touched me very deeply. I'm a mom and I mother a lot of children in the community. And so I was very, there was something very heavy about that sat with me. And after some conversations with my daughter, the mother in me wanted to be concerned about other moms and the children. So originally, I just woke up last Monday morning and just posted, we were going to turn the Sacred Keepers into a food hub. And it was really, for me, a demonstration in a moment that we were feeling very powerless and very, the scarcity, poverty consciousness that permeates our community, particularly in moments like this, where we mantra over and over again that we don't have, we lack, when I know that that's not the truth of who we are. And all of us are somehow always giving, and somehow some of us are always receiving. And there's just a reciprocity about that has always been the resilience and strength of our community. So I just posted, bring some stuff, take some stuff, and we'll create a space for all that to happen. And then I got really overwhelmed with a lot of donations and a lot of stuff that was coming into the hub. And then again, Kymon, we got in contact with each other, and he was already, like he says, in kind of an organic way, he was already in community doing this. If you know anything about Kymon, which half the city does, you know that he is about securing and providing and protecting the community, and will serve selflessly in every way. So that just kind of, we needed deliveries out, we needed stuff picked up. We partnered with a beautiful young person, Justin Williams, at the Bronzeville Kenwood Mutual Aid Network, to kind of help me get my arms around procurement and distribution. We had a lot of stuff for mamas originally, diapers and formula, a lot of the stuff that Whitney just said that she was doing. I think what I so enjoyed about Whitney's stories is the story that I'm hearing over and over and over and over and over again from all of us, that we are all out here rebuilding. We're all out here providing. So the Reciprocity Hub has some of the same stuff that I heard that's sitting in Whitney's hub and sitting in hubs across all of our communities right now, where it's serving as a distribution hub. We're actually serving the hubs, we're hubbing the hubs. So we're able, a lot of people don't have brick and mortar right now to receive large quantities of things. So Sacred Keepers is kind of functioning as a catch-all. So individuals can come in and get what they need. We also have a philosophy where, you fill it, you take a bag, you fill a bag. Actually, Kymon helped me with that one. And not really wanting to presume people's diets. Sometimes right now, the only agency and power you feel is being able to pick your own things at a time that everything is kind of being like handed to you as if someone else understands your diet. So we want people to come in and get high quality food and pick out their own groceries. And we have everything for the total human being in the total house. So it's not just cans of soup and stuff like that, but it's a little bit of everything that you would need to live a full life right now, which right now feels very fragmented and scary for a lot of people. So that's the hub. We function Monday through Saturday from 12 to 5:30 p.m. And we're going to do it until we sense that we don't have to. And I don't sense that need will be diminished anytime soon.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. I want to just, in addition to everything you shared, you mentioned when we spoke, you mentioned that you your organization had planted about how many trees so far?
Communally, we've helped to plant about 20,000 trees locally and abroad, both in Chicago, regionally, and in Kenya. We've planted, I can't even imagine, over 5,000 native species locally throughout our lakefront in partnership with a few people called the Burnham Wildlife Corridor. We partnered with the Green Belt Movement in Kenya and Masai Land to plant trees in a little village called Kimuka. So we kind of move around, and it's really about making sure that our ecology is restored to the way it was supposed to be. And a lot of the regions that we look at through colonization and over extraction of our lands, we don't have, our landscapes, our ecology is broken, much like our humanity is broken. So I believe in working on both at the same time with our young people. So that's sort of the work we're up to.
Excellent. Somebody will ask, what is the correlation between, tree planting or trees and our communities? Yes, there is the talk of global, and we are in a global environmental crisis and all that. But why would anybody on the south side of Chicago worry about tree planting? How is that even beneficial to our communities, and how significant is that?
It's very significant. I would say in so many different ways, both psychospiritually and our health depends on it. Air quality in communities of color is historically, worse because we have industries that use our lands to develop themselves. We get the most runoff, we get the most air pollution, we get the most residents that are adjacent to industry. So the public health of our communities are always bad. I mean, climate change in urban communities is affected because we have urban heat island. And when we have communities that are locked in heat, lack of tree canopy, we have poor air quality, which means we have higher respiratory disorders. And in a time, of COVID, even our air quality is kind of important right now, as we're noticing. So I would say from the psycho-spiritual, of course, communities that you feel are more aesthetically pleasing and are more comforting. There's 100 statistics out about how images of nature and sounds of nature help speed up recovery. So hospital rooms have pictures of art and nature to help people feel better. So we know that when we live in communities that are thriving visually and aesthetically, we feel safer, we feel more connected. So for a million reasons, and I would just say that, my philosophy is that the trees are our breath. They're the lungs of this planet. So, when we have communities that are thriving with nature, we are not just feeling better psycho-spiritually, but we actually feel better in health. And the planet is also feeling better too.
No, it's great. And it's a blessing to have people like you that can think in this aspect regarding our community, because a lot of times some would wonder, why should I even think of in a project, an honorable project as such as yours? And so we are blessed that we have people in the community that think this way, who is looking and considering this aspect of our community, that we need these things. We need them, but sometimes we lose sight of it because of everything else that we got to juggle with, putting food on the table, going to school, going to work. So, we lose sight. So again, it's very, very important that you're doing what you're doing. And thank you so much for sharing. One thing that, binds the three of you, at least for the purposes of this show, is what has been going on as a result of looting, protesting, and all that. Now, and so you guys are on the ground, literally working. I want to get your views, your sincere opinions on looting. Do you think that people are saying, well, they shouldn't loot, protest, but don't loot? Some people say that's the only way people are going to hear us. right? So I want to start with Whitney. I think you've been off for a while, so sorry about your connection. I hope that it's working now. If you can hear us, can you hear us?
Yep, I hear you perfectly.
Okay.
Yep, perfectly.
Your take on looting? Do you support it, and do you think that it's yielding the results that the people are looking for?
So really quickly, right before I answer that, I do also want to speak to what Toni had just said, why it's important that we have trees. First of all, you covered that perfectly, Toni, but also just from a real estate side and a property value side, we need community beautification.
Okay.
So trees and flowers and all of that help to revitalize our communities. It's part of beautification. It's part of increasing the value of our homes. So planting trees, planting flowers, planting gardens, being able to be sustainable. When we're talking about gardens and fruits and vegetables, that is vital to our communities.
Great. Thanks for adding that.
Of course. To answer the question that you asked, as far as looting, I'm not a proponent of looting. I'm not I would never encourage anyone to loot, but I do understand and am empathetic to rioting and why it happens. As Dr. King told us many, many years ago, rioting is the language of the unheard. So why did people riot? Because we've been protesting peacefully. Colin Kaepernick, who kneeled on the side of a field. We have had many and many and many peaceful, quiet protests. Trayvon Martin, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Tamir Rice. We've had these over and over again, and nothing has happened. And people are tired. So that's why the rioting took place, right? The other part, as far as this looting, remember that we've been in a pandemic for 3 months, right?
Right.
So you also have people who mentally are just going crazy. Like, this is a lot for people to take in. And so on top of just those that have lost their jobs, those that have not received a stimulus check yet, those that are not getting unemployment, now couple that with all of this tension, all of this negative energy, and it's like, listen, I'm not looting because I want to loot and I think this is fun. I'm enjoying looting because I need groceries. Why else would you break into a jewel? Why else would you break into a Food for Less? There were people that were looting not out of just to be doing it, but they were doing it out of necessity. I don't think anyone I can't imagine anyone would say, yes, go loot. Yes, go burn up buildings. But do we have to be empathetic and compassionate to the plight of our people and the mindset that many of us are not taught how to cope with emotions? We're taught to be strong. We're taught to just suck it up and keep it moving. We are not taught how to deal with the mental, the traumas that we see and deal with every day as a people. So couple that with a national pandemic, an international pandemic, things were bound to blow up.
Wow. Kymon, because the thing is, I mean, we know that, the local Walgreens, and everybody's saying it, this is where, the seniors get their medications and whatnot from. Now they can't. It's one way or the other hurting people. And so what is your take on that? Well, I think we can hear our brother. Because he probably forgot that he muted himself.
Okay, yeah, I did. Sorry, guys. So what I was saying is basically, I don't, politics is not all that palatable to me. I don't do politics too well. I understand it. I can move around through it, but I don't agree with the looting. Okay. I understand why people are angry. I'm angry too. But from my practical sensibilities, unless some action I'm taking is gonna give me a reaction that I desire, it's counterproductive. Now, I know people, they on lockdown, we're in the middle of a pandemic, we have a lot of youth that have been sitting by idle, they haven't been going to school or alternative school or work, they have no income. I understand the climate that COVID-19 and the unrest has caused. And I understand people are angry, and I'm angry too. I present that anger differently than maybe some other people. Right. I do understand rioting. It is the language of the unheard. I mean, we have been quiet too much. We have been quiet too long. You know, the oppressed can only be quiet for so long.
Right.
And then you must hear our voice. And sometimes that presentation is louder than you're willing to understand. So the looting, I think, is a byproduct of the riots and you know, the communities of anger. But what I don't agree to is tearing up your own neighborhood, destroying your own community. Because, you know, and I said this time and time again, we have to leave our houses or our apartments or our rooms with our roommates, and we have to go to these local Walgreens or CVS or Jewels or wherever, and we can't. Like I told you when I did the board up on 55th and Wentworth, as I prepared to go get something to eat, I drove around every shopping center within a 15-mile radius because I needed to take a break. Yeah. And I needed to kind of recover, but I had my camera with me. So, I mean, pretty much every shopping center, I went by each shopping center, and I have a little bit of press credentials and people let me in. And I was able to take wide angle views of the shopping center. I was able to take individual pictures. I went live, as you know, inside of Foot Locker on Wentworth and just showed the sheer destruction of it. And the thing is, it's like, you know, wherever people are coming from to do this, they have to come back out their houses and they will have nowhere to shop. And when I say no, I'm not saying, oh, they destroyed everything and there's a couple of stores standing. They destroyed Oak Street. They broke into Oak Street, which is a senior medical organization that pretty much only serves seniors. You break that down and they can no longer serve seniors. Walgreens is closed. CVS is closed. Some Walgreens and CVS's and other pharmacies that weren't affected at all closed down for fear, because, you know, there were riots every night over the entire weekend. So I don't agree with destroying. It's my community too. I want to go to the corner store and I can't. I want to go to the laundromat. I mean, what's going on? I mean, and then you look at it in hindsight, or after you look at the pictures, and you're like, man, they destroyed everything except Popeyes, except Burger King, except Wendy's. And you wonder, like, why were they spared? It doesn't make a lot of sense, and I'm not even going to go into how much sense it possibly can make. But I agree that we're angry. I agree that we're restless. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We're being fed a load of BS all around the political spectrum, whether it's voting or how the pandemic really affects us, or the sheer realization that the pandemic is affecting us more than other populations because of racial disparities. You know, just discrimination, point blank. It's affecting the real estate market, from redlining to, you know, race neutral language that still does the same thing. I mean, we're affected by this, and we would just not keep our mouth shut any longer.
Okay, so you just don't condone looting. And before we go to Toni to have a take on this, I don't know if at any point in time, Whitney, Toni, if you wanted to interject or maybe add, you know, please let me know. Feel free to do so. Just give me a second here. I want to acknowledge a few people. Okay, all right. I see you, Toni. Whitney, I would give you the chance in a minute. Kay Hole just joined us. He or she, I don't know if it's a guy, but Kay says, we appreciate you, Toni. Jacqueline Abina Smith says, represent Mama Toni. Tell them why we need the trees and quality food. Mary Lomax says, Tony, you rock. And then Chris Toffee says, awesome idea about tree planting. Please, how do we figure out the right trees to plant? And so, Tony, as you're coming in, you can respond to this as well. And then Ashika Daniels just joined us. Thank you for coming in. Please share the feed both on Facebook and YouTube, folks that are watching, so we can get this message out, how we, with regards to how we intend bringing back our communities that has gone through a lot. Toni.
First, I want to answer, I think, Chris's question on how do you know which ones to plant. You know, every region of the world has its own footprint, you know, its own way of breathing. So I would say the best thing to do is to figure out what trees in the Midwest grow, wherever you might be located. There are trees that are native to your area, and you want to plant as many native trees as possible, because native trees often understand the landscape and the root system, and they don't require as much maintenance, and they are not invasive to the area. So that's how you know. I would whatever native plants, trees are in your area, plant more of them.
Oh, okay. That's easy enough. I think I'll take that too. Now, before you respond to that looting question, Whitney wanted to respond quickly. So let's give her a chance and I'll come back to you. Okay.
Sure.
Yes.
I just wanted to respond to the comment about, like, why would you destroy your own community? I think that we have to take into consideration the mindset of many of our communities are not owned by us. So when you are rioting and looting in those areas, there's a disconnect between don't own the homes in a lot of these communities that are predominantly Black. We are renting, we are leasing. And so there's often a disconnect. That's why you see so much litter. That's why you see so much, you know, just disparaging image in these areas, because we don't feel connected to it. Ownership ties you to it. It gives you skin in the game.
Okay.
And we don't have that.
Okay.
And so again, I think we're all in agreement that looting is bad, and we're not condoning it. But I do think that it's important that we understand where that mindset comes from and understand why you may never see something like that in a Naperville, where people all, you know, the people that live their own, and why you may see that somewhere in Inglewood where it's not the same.
Understood. Yeah. I definitely get you.
Yeah, and I think that you made a very great point earlier by, you know, touching on the money situation. And I think a couple of weeks ago we did a show with one of the guys that's watching us now, Chris Toffee, on how, you know, our money situation and, you know, the pandemic and our money and all that. You know, people are not, you're right, people are not getting their unemployment checks. We only had one stimulus check. People have been asked to stay at home. Like, it's funny how you are literally forced and begged to stay at home, but you know but you should know that when people are staying home for 3 months, you know, how do they survive? If you have some savings, you run out of those savings quickly. You know, and $1,200 for the span of what, 2 months?
That does nothing. Jesus
Christ, you know. So I can foresee the extreme hardship, you know, within our community, and the reason why someone may not even think twice to go pick up some stuff and even probably be considered looting places where they're not supposed to. I don't condone it myself, but I'm just trying to put myself in somebody who's just like looking like there's no hope at all, and there's so much frustration and they have to do something. Well, Toni, it's your turn anyway, so take it from here.
Yeah, I agree with everything that Whitney said. We have to understand, Dr. Joy DeGruy, she's a beautiful, Dr. Joy DeGruy, wrote a book called Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. Yeah. If you haven't read it, please read it.
I've seen that. I've watched a little bit of it. I think there's an audio part of it, and I've listened to it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's brilliant. She's come to Bronzeville a couple of times to do some seminars. We actually had a group of young people from the neighborhood high schools join her for a whole day of her teachings and lecture. And one of the things she talks about a lot is serial displacement disorder. And to Whitney's point, we've been moved around so much. And even when we are in our own communities, we don't have a sense of ownership. We don't have a sense of placement. We're almost going through our communities apologizing for being alive, apologizing for needing things, apologizing for breathing and taking up space in public parks. We can't even go on a run in a local park without somebody making us feel like that's a mistake to just take up that space. So when the fit hits the shan and you already feel like it's not yours, you know, serial displacement disorder fosters, you know, apathy within our community is a mental health problem. We all have a bit of apathy that gets fostered through just coping mechanism. We've just shut off all care, all concern, because that's dangerous. That's not, we can't survive if we feel. And so it's fostered a way of voyeuristic apathy. Like that's is why we take out cell phones and watch things, because we almost are immobilized in our ability to really connect to each other and connect to this land, connect to the space. We don't have that. And it's a mental health issue.
Right.
So when this sort of thing happens and things get torn up, I'm not agreeing with any, you know, I don't want our communities, I don't want us to have to deal with things this way. I understand the rage behind it, and I understand the mental health issue behind it. And I understand the political apathy that we have, you know, like Sister Whitney said, you know, we litter and throw things down because we don't have any connection to that thing. And so it's not rocket science why it happened. I think if we spend too much time trying to figure out why this thing occurred, we're gonna drive ourselves kind of crazy with some simple 1 + 1. It's not hard math, you know. If 500 years of this don't belong to you has been fostered in our thinking, then it doesn't belong to me, so I don't care what happens to it.
True.
We have generational trauma that makes us very apathetic toward one another and toward the spaces that we occupy.
Okay, so now that we have all the stores, restaurants boarded up, there's a lot of them too when you drive around. You know, it looks like it's our new way of life now. You know, stores having boards all around. What's the way forward? Now, yeah, seniors can get their medication. You can go to the corner and get some supplies, home supplies. So what's the way forward? How do we get it all together?
We buy those spaces.
Okay.
We bring Black grocery stores into those spaces. We bring Black businesses into those spaces.
Okay.
And again, that returns the pride to the community. That returns and creates that connection to the community, because in all honesty, having been out there every day for the past like 12 days, a lot of our businesses were not hit. There was some respect for that. So replacing these big box stores that may decide that they're not going to come back can actually be a golden opportunity for our Black businesses and us to create sustainable Black banks, Black grocery stores, Black cleaners, Black clothing stores, and be able to save ourselves and be able to live off of our own resources and circulate that money into our hands and our community.
Well, that's a great point. I don't know if Kymon wanted to comment on that, but that is it's good to say that we bring, you know, we try to build our own banks and grocery stores, but people that there has been that conversation about how we treat our own businesses within the Black community. You know, with a few Black businesses that we have around, how has the customer service been? How has professionalism been? I think we struggle with these too. So, whilst we advocate for all these changes, I think that we also have to look for, talk about advancement. How do we move beyond this? And so, are there any community advocates that are trying to improve these businesses professional wise and customer service wise? Because quality is what it comes down to at the end of the day. Somebody may be preaching buy black in the community, but then will sneak around and go to a neighbor to get something because they're looking for quality. Everybody wants quality.
Do you not feel that Black businesses provide quality service and products?
No,
because I know every partner that I have in real estate, whether it's a real estate attorney, a loan officer, inspector, appraiser, contractor, all Black owned businesses, all excellent.
Great. No. So that is a great point, and that is true. And then that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, there is also that conversation that people have when it comes to the Black businesses. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and I think that is what I'm trying to see if we can address.
Well, I think that it's a disparity on how we hold so-called white non-Black business and Black business.
Absolutely.
And we are fully willing to go into stores and be followed around and be booted out and be be treated disrespectfully, to get our orders wrong in those locations as well.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, the mirror of self-hatred that we have toward how our own people do business, we have like a very low bar of patience for how we move into Black space and Black business based on that story, that Black businesses are not equally, or if not more stellar than non-Black businesses. And I think, and I've seen it, like, I know that we do have I'm not saying we don't have our work to do,
right.
To shore up how we deal with one another and how we deal with supply chain and how we price supply chain. I know we have that work to do. But I also have bared witness to us being treated like absolute garbage on Michigan Avenue, and we'll keep on going back down there. And I've seen us walk into a Black business and get impatient because 15 minutes went by and we didn't get served. So this moment is an opportunity for us to really deal with our insecurities about one another. And this is where like radical love practice and radical trust practice has to come into how we deal with one another. The internal politics of our community have to get dealt with. We're so busy externalizing and outsourcing all the things that we think we have to do to organize ourselves, that it's those sorts of little like small politics that govern how we deal with one another in the spaces we can have most agency with one another. And what they're doing is not even, it doesn't even matter. So I agree, we have some work to do, but I think in this moment of resilience where we have no choice but to cling onto one another and rely on one another and trust one another in ways that we can't afford to outsource, I think this moment is helping us see we gotta cut it and get it together with each other. But we also have to dismantle some of the stories that we have about how we govern ourselves, just as much as we have to dismantle all the other externalized stuff. We got to get rid of these stories that Black business is not stellar, thriving, opportunities for us to help one another without thinking about what's not being done correctly. Because I promise you, in all of our externalized experiences, we've had equal measure of negative business experience, but for whatever reason, we have more tolerance for it.
Because
absolutely. Oh, that was so good, Tony.
No, yeah, I love that too. And because history also shows that there was the Oklahoma Black Wall Street, the Tulsa Black Wall Street. Maybe we can take this opportunity to paint a picture of what that first Black Wall Street looked like and what we have been capable to build and what we are capable in doing even today, even with more resources. I'm not a historian. I heard about it. But maybe I'll let you all paint a picture. If I know you know about Black Wall Street, how was it like? What is Black? What is that? If you say if you hear the first Black Wall Street, what picture should we have in mind? What was it like?
I mean, I'll say this. Everything was self-contained.
Okay.
All the resources, from what I understand and as I know it, all the resources the community needed were within the community. And in some ways, as the anniversaries of Black Wall Street and some of the Tulsa riots and other massacres where entire communities were destroyed, I'm starting to feel like we need to go back to the ancient times. Both ancient times as far as like back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and ancient times back in the motherland where there was nowhere else to go. I mean, like take 50s, 60s and racism and redlining, where if you were Black, you could not go down the street. You couldn't go past Roosevelt, to go shopping anywhere. You couldn't go to JCPenney or any of these places. I mean, unfortunately, that situation is no longer as it is. But if we put our minds in that framework to say that all the resources I need are here, I need to be more patient, I need to be more tolerant, and I need to maybe search 15 seconds more than the next person. And I will find everything that I need in equal or better quality and presentation and customer service and professionalism that I'll find somewhere else. I mean, yeah, we got spoiled. If Amazon doesn't deliver in 2 days, we we have things to say about it. But when we can walk down the street to a Black-owned business and we're made to wait an extra 5 minutes because it's crowded, because we're supporting each other, there's an attitude there. It happened to me. I mean, I've gone to places where I've had attitude, and I have to kind of tell myself, I have to kind of be aware of the moment, like, you have to be patient. Just like you will be patient with Amazon not delivering your stuff on time. You have to be patient with, so-and-so t-shirt delivery or so-and-so mask delivery. You have to be patient with that. And I will say this, both for the consumer and the communities of color and the proprietors in the community, we all are experiencing a reset. So the proprietors are learning, how they need to step up to their game, to professionalism, not in comparison of non people of color. I'm not going to compare myself to Amazon, but just in general, telling myself or tightening up my game or polishing up my professionalism so I can be as professional as I want to be as a business. And the consumers are also getting that reset to say, I need to reframe my thinking instead of being impatient about this community of color business or Black business and sneaking around the corner, whatever. I need to be patient. I need to make sure I support, because we're almost at a point now where we just, as a matter of moral principle, we have to support our Black businesses or just we won't survive. And we got to look at each other in the face. I don't want Prada or Gucci or anything like that. I want something made by Kelly K. Fly. I'm trying to get her to make stuff for guys, but I want some of that product. I feel better. It feels better to me to buy something from somebody I know, and I can get it customized at a whole lot less than I can get Prada to customize a bag or anything like that. So I'm also changing my mindset, and I know from Black business owners that I know that they are changing their mindsets too, not in comparison to somebody else, but just tighten up the game because the game has changed.
The game has changed. The game has changed, says my brother Kymon. The game has changed, and we have to change accordingly. It's 44 minutes past 7 p.m. You're still listening to the Progressive Mind Show. If you're on Facebook, please share the feed. So I would say for folks watching us on YouTube as well, this is how we attempt to rebuilding our community. And thank you all so far for helping the conversation. For those who have joined us on Facebook, we are very appreciative. Please keep sharing the feed. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to share it, ask it. The guest here would attempt to answer them. The community building idea is not, one person or one leader, one politician, making decisions here and there. It's our involvement. everybody getting their hands dirty and pulling plug here and purchasing this and supporting that movement. These are the little activities that we all need to do in getting our community back on the right track. So I wanted to paint a picture for somebody who may have heard about, the first Black Wall Street, but don't have a clue. And so I want, as we are trying to rebuild, as we are talking about how we rebuild, is it possible? Because I know with my little idea about first Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, it was, if it's true, and correct me if I'm wrong, my guest, let's say in today's day, would it be comparable to, let's say, Hyde Park or Bronzeville, where in the community where you had banks that were owned by Black people, hospitals or clinics that were owned by Black people, restaurants, dry cleaners, libraries, everything that a community, every good resource and social amenities, infrastructure that a community needs to thrive well and be respected. Was that what it was? And if that is the case, in today, as you all saying, we are resetting. I mean, we have an opportunity to reset. Do we have the financial the resources available for us to kind of start building towards something of that that comparison? Is that possible? And do we have the resources? I guess my main thing is, do we have the resources for folks who want to get into business and rebuild? Are there resources for them to, take the initiative?
We are the largest consumers in the world.
Okay.
So without a doubt, we have the spending power to create and build and rebuild our communities. Okay. We just have to focus our energies on that. We have to focus and say, listen, even if it takes pooling our resources together and buying these commercial spaces, even if it takes us pooling our resources together and saying, let's buy 5 or 6 buildings on this block and rehab them. Without a doubt, we have the resources. We need the focus and we need the guidance.
Okay, we need the focus and we need the guidance. Who's going to provide that? Who's going to provide the guidance? I would hope all of us. Yeah. Well, because
all of us.
All of us. We already
need it, right?
Excellent. So let's say,
absolutely, just like Toni was saying, even with the trees, you may not even realize the importance of that. But here is a leader right here that can say, listen, this is part of us rebuilding and creating that Black Wall Street again.
Okay.
I'm a real estate broker, very well versed in, what it takes to buy residential and commercial property. There's some resources there. We have those that are have a wealth of knowledge and financial literacy and what we need to do to be able to position ourselves to do these things. The resources are in our community.
Yeah.
And we are the leaders.
And I would to add to that, I would say we already have all of these businesses. They're just not in one community anymore. They're not in a small little Tulsa town. Right. We have Black-owned banks all over the nation. We have Black-owned clinics. We have Black-owned researchers, scientists, stores. You name it. It's Black-owned. It's everywhere. The issue is that we think we have a choice as to where we put our dollars. So back when it was Black Wall Street, we didn't have any other way there was no Michigan, there wasn't no running around the corner to get it from somebody else.
Right.
We didn't have a choice but to, buy it Black and local because you weren't welcome anywhere else. Your dollar wasn't even welcome anywhere else.
Right.
So we have it all over. The issue is that we are all still divesting by option. We are still divesting from these different institutions that are run by us.
Okay.
Because we think we have option, just like there's a thriving HBCU institution across our country, but we still have people who are believing that our education is subpar to their education.
Okay.
And so until we stop thinking, and hopefully that's what I'm really grateful about this moment, is shoring up the Black dollar and our commitment to the Black dollar. Is being shored up through this experience, and now we're back in the. Remember when we didn't have a choice. Remember when
Yeah.
Remember when we couldn't spend it nowhere else? Let's go back there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Alinka. I agree, you know, with what everybody said. And in a way, I'm gonna sum it up with, you know, your question, like, you know, what do we do and where the businesses and where, you know, I would say like this: if you're a consumer or if you're a proprietor, I say, you know, with rebuilding the community, your community, I say basically do what you can from where you are with what you got. Now, the from where you are could be anywhere. It could be your station in life. It could be your financial situation in life. It could be your access to resources in life. You know, we all bring all sorts of talents that have nothing to do with what we're doing now to bear on the situation. And to help, I think to help our businesses, not Black businesses, our businesses survive in the communities of color, Black business, we need to basically come together and do what we can. You know, you might not be able to get access to $1 billion capital. You know, you might, you know, but you may have access to 50,000, and that 50,000 can be paired with somebody else's. You know, it could be escrowed. It could be, you know, you can increase your buying capacity. You know, we have ancient systems of saving money within our communities. I know for a fact that the Korean American community has it, the Chinese, the African community, we have our susus and whatnot. We have ancient systems, ancient financial systems of saving money and reinvesting that money. It's basically, you have to tell yourself that you can invest in yourself, and trust me, you can afford to invest in yourself. You know, people are afraid to invest in themselves or their communities because of this fear. You know, hopefully this fear will be reduced and you will understand that you can afford or you cannot afford not to invest in your communities.
Brilliant. Before we end this evening's discussions, we would kindly ask you to provide some resources or even how people can reach you all, because somebody might be listening and say, okay, I got to do something, but I don't know how. Where do I start from? Where do I begin? So maybe you all can provide some directions as to what first steps people can take, because not everybody is born a leader and not everybody is able to take initiative. So sometimes we need to provide, okay, go here, go to that website, go to this, and then you might get some advice on what to do. So I want us to look at rebuilding culturally. As a community, we know that the Black community is vast. You have the Caribbeans, you have the Africans, you have Latin America, of course, African Americans, who is the larger population when it comes to the Black community in the diaspora. Is it necessary that we kind of look for integration? We kind of, you know, advocate for integration so that we can pool all our resources together? Because if I'm African and I'm patronizing other Black businesses, you know, it helps the Black diaspora. But if I just want to just stay within my African community, just like the Caribbeans and the Latin America, I think we might have pockets of, you know, different Black ethnic groups that are doing things. But when we, you know, amalgamate all this, I think it helps. And this is what I'm just thinking. What would be your take on that? Do we need that cultural integration in rebuilding our community? Well, anybody can take on this. Take this up. Okay, I see. Whitney started smiling first, so I'll go to you since I.
I would say that I think unity and us working together as a collective is always important. It is necessary to see us succeed. I don't know that that's not already happening, but to reiterate it or to push it, absolutely. I'm okay with there being pockets of Black dollars circulating amongst Black people, whether that be Caribbean Blacks, African Blacks, American Black. I'm okay with that as long as we're just circulating it amongst ourselves. And I think, just to speak to everyone's point earlier, it's just important that we change the mindset. that we are not even seeing each other as separate, right? Like we're all Black. We are all in the same struggle outside of our cultures, geographically. When people see us, they see Black.
Yeah.
And so I would want us to connect with that and just love and unify with each other because of that. Of course, we want to embrace the different cultures. But it's just important that we change our mindset about us personally, not personally, but individually, as well as collectively. We are powerful. We are beautiful. We lack nothing that we need.
We are magic.
True.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah. We have everything we have everything that we need. Everything we need in this community, we have.
All right.
We may not know where it
find it. Right.
And we may need to do a better job of communicating within these pockets or communicating between the pockets to say, this resources you're looking for, it may be better served by this pocket over there, and that's okay too. So what it means, is Toni had these bonfires. It's like we need, in a way, sort of a communal bonfire where everybody can come and take in the warmth of the fire, and the fire is basically the resources that we all put into. We're never not going to stop supporting each other, which is that fire. And if we keep adding to that fire and sharing in the warmth and security and presentation of that fire, we'll do fine. A lot of people, we just need to communicate to these pockets, whatever pockets, our own pockets internally. We may even need to look inward to say that, I need to come out of my shell. And I need to bring this resources to an area where they may not know. I mean, my people know what I do, but I'm sure if I go to Pilsen, they may not know what I do. But if there's sort of like that community bonfire that you can go to, where you can just come and just chop it up with your people and share all these resources, then you walk away from that bonfire knowing that, there is a guy in Pilsen that specializes in XYZ, or the guy from Pilsen or Little Village can say, yeah, you know what? There is a construction company or a leather maker or a photographer or artist that can serve this particular need. Maybe your people are busy, and you need to diversify. You say, well, all the photographers I know, they doing proms right now. I don't want us to look beyond the bonfire. I want us to look around the bonfire and say, wait a minute, don't you do? And yeah, let's talk later. That's how I think that, I think we need to be out of our shells, and then we need to communicate to communities of color that we're maybe not used to engaging, just to say, I can do this, I can provide this, I can share this. And then, it will kill the stereotypes. We don't need to present, a posture like, no, I'm not the stereotype, that just when you do what it is you know to do, it will kill the stereotype for you. There will just be no barriers.
Oh, yeah. I hear that, Toni.
Yeah, I just think the biggest game that they've played is convincing us that we're separate and minority. And just like with Standing Rock, there were those of us who were questioning our solidarity with that project. There was a disruption within the Latino community and our community during this revolution. And we just keep pitting, there's always this story that Africans don't like Blacks, and we got to come out of that.
Right.
We got to unite. And Europeans have been acting as the brokers to our relationship for long enough. There are goods and products that can be exchanged directly with our continent and the diaspora around it. There's a whole lot that could be done if we get in right relationship with each other. And we stop allowing the excavation of these goods to be brokered through, non-Blacks to us. If we were to be better at our relationships across the diaspora, to Kymon's point, we could actually start to broker and leverage one another and fill gaps with one another and shore it all up so that it's one majority as it really should be. But we have to come out of some myth making that has been that's been shored up to be leveraged by people who would benefit from our pitting ourselves against one another. So, you know, I really was very attracted to your invitation to be on this show because you said that your interest was using this platform to unite the diaspora. And right now, that's a critical action that's needed beyond the unity that we need within the Black community here in the US. We really need to be about the business of uniting the diaspora in some radical ways. And so that we can benefit from the strong economy that it is, that actually everyone benefits from the disruption of our harmony. And we haven't benefited from the unification. And so if we got to work on shoring ourselves up and shoring our economies up at the national levels, to Whitney's point, we can have all these little silos that feed, but all those silos meeting and having the intention to keep our money in its most powerful position that it benefits us the most. I think that's the next great work for us to do as a nation.
That's beautiful. And okay, it's 8 p.m. already, so we're gonna end the show here on these brilliant points that you all have shared. But let me just take a few comments from Facebook. Hopefully you all would like to comment. I'm going to read out the comments. If you all feel like responding to any of them, please let me know and I'll let you do so. So Angelina Berner says, that's part of our destruction. We must change our mindset and realize, let me put it here, and realize that we are capable of achieving and maintaining our own everything. Thank you for sharing that. Sierra Walton says, magical people. Tunde Shobande says, it's not in our DNA as Africans/African Americans to pool resources together. We don't last. Okay, that is his viewpoint. And then Angela again says, we must integrate the different cultures of colored folk, realizing that was just another way to them separating us. We are all colored folk. Thank you for your comment. Okay, I think that's about it for those, for the comments. Anybody wants to respond quickly before we end? If not, we'll just try and wrap up. Okay, we're good. All right, it's 3 minutes past 8 p.m. I would like to thank you all, my audience.
Thank you.
Those who have shared the feed and those who have not shared. It's not too late for you to share. Okay. If anybody missed this show, you can go back to the Progressive Minds page and watch it, or YouTube. There are many community building events that we have already started, and we are going to be asking for your involvement as community leaders in the days to come. Kymon is already aware of some, but we'll be reaching out to you all. Before we finally close, I cannot we cannot stop this conversation without giving you your last word. So please start with us, Kymon, and then we will end with Whitney. So Kymon, Toni, and Whitney. But we'll start with you, Kymon. Your last words, please.
Well, my last words is basically just do it. Just do it.
Okay.
Try not to think too much about it. You're getting your own way. Just get up and do the best you can with whatever you got.
Beautiful. Toni?
I would just say be courageous in your love and encourage practice with one another. Stay tender, stay trusting, and stay brave.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Whitney?
I would just encourage us all to stay inspired. Stay encouraged. Know that you are not in this plight alone. There is a whole community willing to support you. I would encourage all of us to be action oriented. We are not going to get through this by just talking. We have to be willing to do the work. And whatever that work is, it's different for everyone, right? It may be you just sharing a post. It may be you just giving $20 to get nails and brooms. Whatever that is, it may be planting seeds in the community for our new trees to increase that oxygen intake. Whatever it is, just do the work. Be willing to be action oriented. Stay inspired and stay encouraged.
Thank you. And I forgot to let you give us your contact infos or any resources out there that you think people can benefit from. So I'll just, if you can just take a few seconds to add that, if you have any contacts or resource that people can take advantage of.
If you are interested in contacting me, I am a real estate broker. I'm also a community activist. My phone number is 708-207-5492. I am also on Facebook and Instagram, Whitney Hampton _realtor, and Hampton Real Estate and Investments.
All right, thank you. Toni?
I am in Bronzeville. So you can look up Sacred Keepers Sustainability Lab. Our number is 312-869-9546. If you need food, if you have donations, if you need anything whatsoever, whether you can get to us or you need us to deliver, just please give us a call or stop by the hub anytime Monday through Saturday from 12 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. We're at 4445 South King Drive in Bronzeville on the second floor, side entrance. Hit us up. I'm also Toni Anderson on Facebook. We have Sacred Keeper Sustainability Lab on Facebook, and on IG, I am Toni Mindful Rant.
Thank you so much. I don't know if Kymon wants to, you have any information you want to give out? Okay.
Well, I'm almost everywhere in this world, but you can, I'm on Instagram as Kindred Studio, KYNDRED Studio, all one word. Also kindredstudio.com. I'm on Facebook as Kymon Kindred, KYMON, Kindred, 2 separate words. I can be reached if you really need to, 773-717-2001. And, you know, all of your people are my people, and we all got people.
Thank you. On that note, we would like to end the Progressive Mind Show this evening. I am your host, Alinko, and we came your way with rebuilding our communities. Next week, expect another wonderful one. We are looking for help with administration and other coordinative skill set. Please reach out to the info. Reach out to us on info.progressiveminds@gmail.com. That's the email, or you can go on the website, theprogressivemindshow.com, or of course the Facebook page. Send us a message if you have any resources out there that can help make this a platform a better one. Remember, to whom much is given, much is required. We will come your way again next week, Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. My guest, Kymon.
Thank
Whitney,
you.
Toni,
Thank you, Senna. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure. You're welcome. Right. And then we will do this again. Have a good evening.
Peace, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.